Okay, let's unpack this. We talk about rivalries all the time. We talk about high stakes. But what we have on the table today is something, well, it's a bit of a mind bender.
It really is. It's one of those scenarios that looks like a standard box score until you actually open the file and realize what you're looking at.
Exactly. We are looking at the battle for New York, Giants versus Jets. But here is the first curveball. It didn't happen in the Meadowlands.
Right.
It wasn't a cold, snowy night in Jersey. This played out on the biggest stage imaginable,
The Super Bowl,
the Super Bowl, under the lights of Levi's Stadium in San Francisco.
which is just, it's jarring right off the bat. You take the soul of New York City, that intense crosstown grit, and you transplant it to the West Coast
Mm.
for the championship.
It's like the setting itself was trying to throw everyone off balance.
For sure.
And before we get too deep into the play-by-play, we need to clarify what we are looking at here, because the source material isn't a standard NFL game summary.
No, not from your Sunday broadcast.
We are looking at a recap from the Comptown reboot.
Right. And for anyone not familiar with this ecosystem, it's crucial to understand the context. This is a high-stakes simulation league.
So it mirrors the NFL. Same rosters, same physics, usually.
But the storylines are user-generated. These are real people controlling these franchises, building these teams over seasons.
So when we talk about pressure or choking, we aren't just talking about computer code. We're talking about the psychology of the human being with the controller.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The stakes are personal. I mean, in a league like Comptown, you don't have a PR team to hide behind. If you lose the Super Bowl on the 1-yard line, that's on you.
That's a specific kind of lonely.
It is.
And that is exactly where we are heading. We're going to dissect this game, which the archives call an instant classic. We're going to look at some, honestly, baffling statistical anomalies.
Things that shouldn't be possible.
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting. We're going to look at a curious hidden message found at the very, very end of the text archives.
That hidden message is fascinating. It reframes how we even think about winning in this league. But we have to earn our way there.
We have to understand the game first. So let's set the scene. The source material calls this a clash of the titans, but honestly, the beginning of the game sounds less like a Super Bowl and more like, I don't know, a staring contest.
See, I might disagree with that a little. The recap describes the first half as a gritty, physical chess match. I think staring contest makes it sound boring.
Okay.
I read that and I see paralysis.
Paralysis. Explain this.
Well, think about it. It's Giants versus Jets in the Super Bowl. In a simulation game, the natural tendency is to be aggressive. You usually see users taking huge risks.
Going for it on fourth down, 50-yard bombs, that kind of thing.
Exactly. But here, the source says, defense ruled the night early. That tells me both users were terrified of making that first mistake.
That's a good point. It says neither side blinked. So it's not that they couldn't score, it's that they were playing specifically not to lose.
Precisely. The fear of being the guy who threw the pick six in the first quarter, that completely overrides the desire to score quickly. And you can see it in the play calling implied by the text.
Every yard was earned.
Right. That means they were running into stacked boxes, they were throwing checkdowns, they were playing terrified football.
So you're sitting there at halftime, the score is 7-7. That just feels heavy.
It's incredibly heavy. A 7-7 halftime score in a video game sim, that is a pressure cooker. Usually these scores are like 24-21 at the break.
So this implies the defenses are just dominating.
Either that or the offensive users are second-guessing every single read.
It sets this baseline of tension like a rubber band being pulled back.
And that's important for you to keep in mind because you can't appreciate the explosion that happens later if you don't feel how tight that deadlock was.
Okay, so we come out of the break. The rubber band snaps. The source says the tension tightened even further, which I didn't think was possible.
And then the Giants find a crack.
They put together a clutch scoring drive to go up 14-7. And we have to talk about the engine behind this, Anthony Richardson Sr.
This is where the sim aspect gets really fun. I mean, Richardson is a physical freak in the real world, and in this league, he's clearly realized that potential. The source credits him with 320 passing yards and 3 touchdowns.
For a game that started 7-7, ending up with over 300 passing yards, that feels like a massive pivot.
It's a huge pivot. It means that in the second half, the Giants stopped playing not to lose and started playing to win. He didn't just manage the game, he took it over.
He delivered when it mattered most, as the recap says. But while Richardson is putting up these, big volume stats, There is another stat line in here that made me do a double take.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
I thought it was a typo in the source file.
The efficiency anomaly, Brian Thomas Jr.
Brian Thomas Jr. Okay, talk to me about this, because the box score says he had 2 catches
Your catches.
in the Super Bowl,
Right.
and both of them were touchdowns.
It's absurd efficiency.
How does that even happen? Is that bad defense? Is it just insane luck?
I really don't think it's luck. I think it's a nightmare for a defense to try and scheme against. Think about it. If a receiver's getting 15 targets a game, you can bracket him.
Right, you can double team him. You know the ball is going there.
Exactly. But Brian Thomas Jr., he's a ghost. He's not catching volume passes. He's not moving the chains. He's invisible for 90% of the snaps.
But the 2 times they look his way,
He's in the end zone.
it's like a sniper. 1 shot, 1 kill.
That's a great analogy. And psychologically, that is so demoralizing for the Jets defense. You feel like you've erased him, and then bang, 6 points in silence for another quarter. Then bang, 6 more points.
It creates this paranoia. You can't relax for a single second.
Not for a snap.
So the Giants are surging. They've got this volume passer. They've got this sniper. We move to the 4th quarter, and the source material describes a complete shift in tone. The gritty chess match is gone.
Now it's total chaos.
This is the points explosion.
And this is where the character of the Jets really shines through. In a lot of sim leagues, if you go down 2 scores in the 4th, you fold. You start forcing throws, you throw picks.
Right, the rage quit mentality creeps in.
Exactly. But the Jets didn't fold. They treated it like a heavyweight fight. They started swinging back.
We have to highlight Jalen Wright here. The recap says he powered the offense for the Jets.
Jalen Wright is the counterpunch. While the Giants are beating them through the air, the Jets are using Wright to grind it out, keep the chains moving.
Which is crucial, right? It keeps the Giants' offense off the field.
You can't score if you don't have the ball.
And what's interesting is, even though we're calling this chaos, the source specifically mentions Jalen Ramsey making his presence felt on defense for the Jets.
Which feels contradictory, doesn't it?
Yeah, how can a defensive star shine in the middle of a shootout?
Well, that's the nuance of football. A points explosion doesn't mean the defense is just gone. It means the offense is executing perfectly. Ramsey making plays suggests that the Jets weren't just letting them walk into the end zone.
They were making them work for it.
He was likely contesting catches, making tackles, maybe forcing them to use more clack than they wanted to. It was high-level execution on both sides.
So it became a seesaw. The source says the Super Bowl hung on every snap.
That is a terrifying feeling for a user. Your palms are sweating on the controller. One wrong button press, and the whole season is over.
It's the definition of controlled chaos.
And that leads us right to the moment where strategy returns with a vengeance.
The climax. So, let's fast forward to the very end. The Jets have responded. They have driven the entire length of the field. And here is the setup.
Seconds left. First and goal.
At the 1-yard line.
If you wrote this in a movie script, they'd reject it.
They'd say it's too cliche. The battle for New York comes down to the 1-yard line. Come on. It's just too perfect. The entire season, the rivalry, it all comes down to 36 inches of virtual turf.
One play.
Now think about the momentum. The Jets just shredded the defense to get down the field. The game is a shootout.
A tidal wave.
You have to think the Jets are punching this in, right?
Oh, absolutely. The offense usually has the advantage in that chaos mode we talked about. The defense is tired. They're reeling.
So what happens?
The Giants' defense, which had been bending and breaking,
Yeah.
they suddenly remember the first half. They snap back into that gritty chess match mode.
They stood tall.
They stonewalled the Jets at the goal line as time expired.
I mean, just picture the silence in the Jets' headset.
Devastating.
Yeah.
To drive 99 yards and get stopped at the 1, that is a haunting way to lose a championship.
And consider the contrast. We just spent all this time talking about the points explosion. But ultimately, to win the ring, the game reverted back to what it was at the start.
That's the key takeaway for me. The offense got them the lead, but the defense secured the legacy. And the source makes a point of this. No flags.
No second chances.
Just a wall of blue. Giants 28, Jets 21.
An instant classic.
And a psychological scar for that Jets user that might never heal.
Truly. Now, usually this is where we would wrap up the sports analysis, but in this particular deep dive, we found something else.
This is the hidden layer we teased at the top. And honestly, for me, this is almost more interesting than the game itself.
Why is that?
Because it tells us about the people in this league, not just the players on the screen.
Right. So we're reading through the source material, this text recap of the game. We get past the box score, past the goal line stand, And there's this little note at the very bottom.
It's like a footer. Easy to miss if you're just skimming to see who won.
It says, if you made it all the way to the end of this recap, here's a little something extra. And then it gives a specific instruction.
The first 10 people to DM the commissioner the phrase, "Year 2 women," will receive a reward.
And then it adds, no announcements, no reminders. Just for the real ones who stayed locked in.
I love this mechanism. It's just brilliant community management.
Why does that stick out to you? It's just a giveaway, right?
No, it's not just a giveaway. It's a filter. Think about how we all consume content now. We skim, we read headlines, we look for the bold text, and move on.
We have the attention span of a goldfish, especially with a long text recap of a game you might have already heard about.
Exactly. This commissioner knows that. So, by putting this reward at the very, very bottom, he's testing the loyalty and the attention span of his user base. He's saying, we don't care if 1,000 people click the link. We care about the 10 people who actually read every word.
So it creates a kind of hierarchy, doesn't it? It defines the inner circle.
It does. It reminds me of that old story about Van Halen and the brown M&Ms, right?
Oh, yeah, to make sure the venue actually read the safety contract.
That is a perfect comparison. It's a compliance check. But instead of checking for safety, this is checking for engagement. It speaks to the culture of this league.
It's not just about logging on and playing. It's about being part of the whole narrative.
And notice the phrase, "Year 2 save in." It's not just give me the prize. It's a pledge.
A pledge of allegiance. It signals commitment.
It signals that you aren't just here for the Super Bowl hype. You're ready for the grind of the next season, and only the first 10.
So even if you read it too late, you're out.
It turns the act of reading the recap into a competitive event in itself. Speed and comprehension.
You know, there's a really cool parallel here. We started this talking about the Giants' defense on the 1-yard line. They had to stay focused for every single second until the clock hit 0.
And the readers have to do the same thing.
Exactly. The Jets' offense lost because they couldn't finish the last yard. A reader loses the reward if they don't finish the last paragraph.
That's a brilliant connection. The theme of this entire event, the game and the recap, is finishing. It's about staying locked in, just like the text says.
So if we zoom out, what's the lesson here?
I think it tells us that value is often found in the margins. The headline was the Super Bowl. The headline was Anthony Richardson throwing 3 touchdowns. But the culture, the glue that keeps this thing alive, is in that little footnote.
And in the efficiency of a guy like Brian Thomas Jr., right? Taking his 2 chances and making them count.
It's all the same principle. Maximizing the moment. Whether you're a receiver in the end zone or a community member reading a text file at 2 in the morning, when the opportunity presents itself, are you paying enough attention to seize it?
It's a pretty profound takeaway for a simulated football league.
Well, simulation or not, human behavior is consistent. We prioritize what matters to us. The real ones prioritize the details.
So let's recap this journey. We started with the battle for New York, a defensive grind that had us sweating at halftime with a 7-7 tie.
We saw the strategy shift. We saw the Giants open up the offense with Richardson and the hyper-efficient Brian Thomas Jr., and we saw the Jets fight back to turn the fourth quarter into chaos.
Culminating in that goal line stand. The Giants stonewalling the Jets at the 1-yard line to take the title, 28-21. A game of inches.
And finally, we discovered the game within the game. The hidden challenge for the real ones to claim their reward.
It's a perfect package of sports drama and behavioral psychology. And, you know, I think there is a takeaway here for everyone listening, whether you care about the Comptown reboot or not.
What's that?
It's about the year 2 mentality. The game is over. The Super Bowl is done. But the text asks, are you in for what comes next?
It's about continuity. The end of one story is just the beginning of the next one.
And in a world where we are constantly distracted, constantly jumping to the next notification, how much are we missing simply because we don't stay locked in until the very end?
That raises a really important question for all of us, doesn't it? What rewards are hiding in plain sight in our own lives, just waiting for us to actually read the fine print?
Something to think about. Maybe read that email all the way to the bottom next time. You never know what you might find.
Year 2 and in.
Yeah, 2 in indeed. Thanks for diving in with us today. Keep your eyes open, stay curious, and we'll catch you on the next one.